joining us. This is our third interview with Coach Justin Barnes as we're previewing the Soddy football season. And Coach, in our last interview, we talked about the offense, and we know you guys always have an explosive offense. But let's talk about the other side of the ball. We know it's a critical side of the ball. Let's talk a little bit about the defense.
All right, we run a 3-4 defense. A little bit of that is just preference. A little bit of it in the past has been because the amount of linemen we've had. But you know, this year we have a good group of linemen, but with them having to play, most of them play both ways. You know, the 3-4 really fits what we need to do. Plus, we have some more linebacker type bodies than linemen, and so it's easier to put 4 linemen out there than it is, you know.
Do y'all run packages like a nickelback at times?
We do. We do have certain big packages where we do have 4 D linemen on the field, or you know, when we play a wing T team, we may line up in a little more a bigger body set.
Right.
But you know, you don't see that stuff that much anymore, as opposed to, you know, like the 90s.
Right.
So you know, it kind of fits our style, and you know, you can still bring a lot of pressure out of it when you need to, and still be safe on the back end, because that's one of the big things. You always want to be able to protect the deep ball, and so we always feel like 3-4 gives us the best opportunity to do that.
So let's talk a little bit about the defensive personnel. Let's start with the guys up front.
Well, you know, we returned a couple of guys, Willie Nelson and Dakota Clayton, who started pretty much every game last year for us. They've done a great job this off season. Dakota was an all-region selection for us last year, had about 7 or 8 sacks, and as a sophomore. And so we're looking for big things from him this year to improve on those numbers. And you know, it seems to be one of the good things about that aspect is that a lot of the guys we play in this season are running more spread type offenses. So he'll have a good opportunity to get a few more sacks. And then we're adding in Jordan Conley, who played a little bit of receiver for us, but he's moved down to the defensive line, and just a kind of another speed rusher type of guy. And then some of the guys I talked about with offense, Jamison Cook, Reagan Taylor, you know, those guys are going to add some depth in those spots as well.
All right. What about your linebackers? How does your linebacker group look?
You know, this will be the big question for us. We graduated all of our linebackers from 2020, and so you know, these guys did get some experience along the way, but they are going to be the big question for us. You know, with what we do, we feel like we got a good group coming through. Right now, Hunter Mills and Donovan Sullivan, who I mentioned offensively, Eli Hickson, Tanner Wittenberger is going to play some defensive reps for us. And then we have other guys that are kind of being positioned where we think they can help us the best. You know, Caden Phillips, who played safety for us last year, has moved down as an outside linebacker. Gavin Lane will get some snaps over there. Braden Dodd, who you know really did a good job for us last year. I think he had 2 or 3 interceptions and some time and a defensive touchdown at one point. So we've got some good experience. They just weren't the full-time starters, and so that'll be a good look in the scrimmages to see how they're playing and how they're progressing. And you know, they've done well, but you know, we got to make sure we're game ready.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's, you know, you mentioned people like to throw the ball, so what about your corners and safeties?
Well, we have 4 corners right now that we feel really comfortable with. You know, so Darren Dallas, who was a soccer player that came out to us last year, he's looking to be one of our top guys in the secondary for us. You have Drew Lewis, who I mentioned offensively, Blake Castellan, and Eli Kaufeld. And so, like I mentioned Eli before, you know, he's pretty moxie and very smart in what we do, and so we've kind of moved him around. He's getting some reps at safety now to add a little bit more depth there. But you know, we have Tanner Harvey has been a great leader for us in the off season. You know, talking about a guy that has really stepped up into a leadership role for us. When we're going through summer and spring, and you know, our freshmen come in with us in the first part of summer, and we're trying to go through and teach them. When he's not in, he's back there coaching up the young guys. And so, you know, that really shows a lot of leadership and maturity on his part. And then you add in Justice Greer, and I mentioned Eli, and then Connor Polachek, all guys that are seniors with some experience. They've gotten some reps and time in a game, and so it's just about, for us, you know, they're a little more involved in the run game. We're a base cover 3 defense, and so you know, just don't get beat deep. Deep is the deepest. And so really when those safeties come into play is in our run game. So that's what we're trying to really shut down.
Well, I could just, you know, I'm not a football coach like you are, but with the speed of the game and the way teams spread it out, I would just think depth would be so critical in your defense.
No, without a doubt. You know, you see more rotations on defense than you do offensively most of the time, just because quarterbacks have a rhythm with certain guys and things like that. But defensively, you want those guys to be as fresh as possible. If you got a tired defense, you're not going to be doing very well. And so, you know, that, especially early on, and August 20th, it could be, you know, 99 degrees and 100% humidity, and so we got to go out and play a game. So the more depth we have and the more depth that we can create, not just on defense, but any position, is going to help us tremendously.
Sure. We don't want to forget the special teams, because they do play an important role. So talk to us about your special teams, guys.
Well, we have a group of returners that we think can add some speed to us. Tanner Wittenberger, Caden Phillips, Trevor Alexander, a lot of the skill guys that I mentioned before. They're going to be doing double duty with that type of stuff, or triple duty, some of them. But you know, our kicking game, we're still kind of working through some of that, because we had Chandler Hartman last year, who was a soccer player that came out and kicked for us and did a good job, and Jonah Gibson punted for us. And so we've got about 5 guys that are kind of new. Some of them are soccer players, some of them, and so we're kind of working through right now to see who is going to be our all-time kicker.
Sure.
Or if you know, somebody does this better than this, we may use multiple kickers and roll guys out there. So you know, that special teams is, you know, it's the third phase. It's not that it's any less important, because you can get yourself beat faster on special teams than you can offense and defense. You know, and so we feel like we got some guys that have some assets that they bring to the table that fit us, what we try to do, and so we're just kind of still working through to see who those guys are.
Well, Coach, we appreciate you joining us, and again, we're doing this for Soddy Daisy. We're trying to promote our community, and Soddy Daisy football is a big part of our community. And again, we encourage you, August the 20th is the first game at home here against Loudoun, so get your tickets and be here on that night at 7:30. Thank you for joining us.